Okay, well, I'm Dana, and I'm Don's niece, and so my mom is Doris, Don's sister. So I'm here to represent the fact that, first of all, I need to speak for my mom. She didn't tell me to say this, but the horse was hers. Okay, its name was Cornflakes, and I know that. But those are the wonderful memories that our family, my sister, I get nominated to come up and do the talking for our family. So for my sister, too, we have those great memories of just sitting around the kitchen table talking about cornflakes, all his stories about teaching, which I have to say I followed in Don Hilda's footsteps and taught at Alhambra, and was always so proud to say, do you know Don Stegner? He's my uncle. Do you know Hilda? Hilda, you too. But, and so that gave me, in teaching, that gave me a little bonus, especially at the district office. Because, again, we all know how organized Don was. Because I have to say, Hilda's in good hands, because not only did he write his biography, but he told everybody who came in, and I'm sure not just us, take care of Hilda. If Hilda has any questions, do this, do this. So we love that about Don. And I just want to you know what I want to say, too, is I wanted to clap out there for Greg and Ron. How impressive did you guys just do a wonderful job for your dad. Wow. Because you just nailed it. And, growing up, just a couple things I want to point out. My memory when Hilda came to town was we were still living in California, but Denise and I were in his truck. And why he took us on Hilda's date, but we were there. We went on a couple dates, and I remember Denise and I sitting in the truck. Hilda got out. She had the bouffant hair she always wore the pretty bows that clipped in, and they were velvet. Any of you from that time? Later, I found out some of those were wigs, but okay. I'm up here for comic relief. Okay, but anyway. Hilda was so pretty, and we always were just talking about, when is that Don going to get married? And it seemed like he was well into his 30s. I really don't know. Was he, Hilda? Okay. And for, back then, he waited for the right person. And they had 48 years together. That's great. But Hilda got out, and Don said goodbye to her on that date, and he was just so respectful and just, the best guy. But you've heard about how all of that is true. And then Don and Hilda, would take us on, up to Sedona, always some outdoor activities, which my sister loved. We'd go bike riding on the canal when it was safe. And Hilda would always find somewhere for us to go swimming, and that was a big event because we didn't have a pool, and so that was really neat. We go to Papago Park, hear the stories about Don and Mom and the early Phoenix days, and, all of that you've heard is just so true. How he loved Arizona. And I travel a lot, and I'll talk to people about Arizona. I want to break out into song. I love you, Arizona. And every time I think of that, in Glenn Campbell, I think of Don. He goes through my mind with that, but because he loved Arizona. But, Don left a lot of memories, tangible and non-tangible. And I think, our lives, that's what they're about. It's what you can leave behind that people remember. And the kind of person he was, his art. I love that I have a couple of things that he's made, because that's just so, that reminds me of Don. And sitting around the kitchen table doing, painting pottery before As You Wish was around and all the pottery places. No, my Uncle Don had those pottery pieces that we painted, and then we antiqued them, and we did all this. I mean, how he brought that into not only his love, but spread it as a family function was just some really good memories. And because of those memories, I just want to say this, that I wanted to have that for my kids too. So I would always be so excited when he could come for Thanksgiving and he wasn't at somebody else's house. And whatever it was, I said, can you bring your cards, your dice, your whatever it is, game? Because I played all those too, and I loved that family time of playing those games, and he brought that. And I called him this past Thanksgiving, okay, just not very long ago. And I said, what's your recipe for homemade ice cream? I'm going to make homemade ice cream for Thanksgiving this year. Now, he couldn't come, but I said, I'm making this. And he said, oh, Dana, he says, just go buy a thing at the store. It's a lot easier. But he was tired at that point. But you know what? I said, Don, and I'm so glad, I got to tell him these things. But I said, no, I'm not buying the ice cream. I'm going to make it. And I bought 3 ice cream makers and took 2 of them back. Finally got the one that looked like Don used to have. I wanted the one Don had, but he said it was too dilapidated. So anyway, I got the one that looked like the bucket that had to churn for a while, and he gave me the recipe. But it was a big hit with the little kids. My nephew had about 3 helpings, Ethan. And so I thought, oh, gosh, just like what you said, you want to take some of these things people have put in our life, Ron, and then take that and try to do that because you know how they impacted you, so you want to do that for other people. And my husband said, why are you making this ice cream? I said, that's why. That's why I made that ice cream. Because Don making that ice cream, guess what? I'm up here saying it today. Did he ever think that? But we always talked about, I love that homemade ice cream, but he would not take shortcuts. He would do these little things that were really special and made him special. And you all know him, so he'd be hard to describe, wouldn't he? But we all know him, and he was a one of a kind. And so anyway, that's it for me. And so the next person's coming up.